he even negotiated 60 hours worth of plane time on the LSU plane for personal use. So it's a year-to-year deal. And I just think I was ready to run through a wall for our Raider Blitz and coach getting up there and talking and everything else and how he's looking forward to the year, and I was too. And unfortunately, I just think it was a miss. Some of the players they got, didn't gel or didn't fit the system they had or anything else. And, of course, he's already out there again, stocking a new team. And I just think it's a 1 year. You might as well not buy a jersey with the player's number on it. Right. He's probably not going to be there next year.
Well, Coach Mason has the reputation as a incredible defensive mind. Yeah. And but I think they're limited now. I don't know if that's the correct term, limited, but they can now have 105 players total. Scholarship, walk-ons, preferred walk-ons, whatever you want to call them. And, if out of that 105, you're having to replace 60 plus each year, how do you have continuity in the locker room? That's beyond me, I guess.
You hire a person that's nothing but player and personnel, and that's their sole job.
Well, I mean, Indiana and as far as perfect examples of building your team through the portal, I guess Indiana and Vanderbilt, are a poster childs.
Yeah, and it's a year to year. It's a year to year, so it's a restock every year.
Yeah, but again, changing lanes again, I just thought Dr. Martin and Mr. Evans did a great job with Brian this morning, talking about the school system and the growth and the needs, and you being a county commissioner, you know better than I and Brian for sure with what you're dealing with now. So, and all I can say is God bless you for serving, Rick, because I know it's a challenge in today's environment.
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's a lot of people who change seats with what we have, the problems we have with growth. Sure. There's a lot of counties and places here in Tennessee are just dying on the vine, lack of a better word. But they're, as soon as the kids are old enough, they're moving away for jobs because they don't have industry in their county or the town that they may live in. And we have that here. We have a good educational program. We have a good, if you want to think of a college program, a good trades program with the TCAT that we've got. And we got great housing. We have all facets of the housing. So we have good resources as far as if you want to think of to build a house, they need, one, land mass and good soil where it's not sinking soil, and two, they got to have good water, they got to have a good sewer system. Yeah. We got natural gas, so we've got we have a big facet of good things that an area needs, but it's that management part of it that we struggle with, and that becomes funding. And our state legislators in the past have not been very responsive, and you were on the commission and I was on before. We were talking in deaf ears, and I have to give credit our state legislation we have now. They listen to us and they're talking to us. They're going to bat for us. They're introducing legislation for us. We'll see a little bit more money. Smyrna and Murfreesboro have impact fees. The county are not allowed to have that funding source by state law, but they've transfer tax. We're going to see a little bit of money off that. So all those little bits of money and pots of money that we can dig into and be able to get for, like when Dr. Martin and them are on here this morning talking about needing schools, and the Mayor Carr's, we have to have a new jail. We just have to. I'm on public safety committee, just my short 5 months being on. This was a problem 15 years ago when I was on, and they've kicked the can and got us in the position where we are now, and we're in a hurry now to land. We've got to have a piece of land that'll fit it, and we got to have a piece of land that's in the right spot that can house that jail, the new one. And we're gonna have to look at options, and that's what we got to look forward to in this coming year on top of an election.
Have you talked about price as far as a new jail? Discounting land, because land is what it is.
Well, I said in the very beginning, just doing my math and when talking with people and looking into my own research, there was a county that did a jail in West Tennessee, and they spent about $300 million, and it's smaller than what we're going to need. So I've said that from the very beginning it was going to take $400 to $600 million. Now the mayor differed with me on that, but he has now publicly said that he's thinking it's going to be $400 million. But we don't have land, so that number is not set in stone because we don't have the land.
Yeah, that was probably just the construction cost.
I'm just saying a jail by itself is probably that $400 to $450 million mark.
Yeah.
Plus whatever we have to spend on land, infrastructure, and fees. Now, if we build it inside Murfreesboro city limits, they don't waive their fees on us. So just like great case in point was when we did the additions to Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna High Schools. Smyrna High Schools was done for the August new school year, and the other additions weren't ready for another 6 months.
Yeah.
And that was nothing more than the fees and things that
permitting and
that you got to go through when you build in Murfreesboro. Where Smyrna waives those. Smyrna's class of 89, the mayor down there, Mary Esther, she waives those costs for our school system, and which is very thankful for, and it's a great need for us.
And I agree. She's an amazing leader, but we can stay away from the 89 this morning. So.
Did you get that picture this weekend?
I did get that picture this weekend.
Just checking.
So, yeah, Nathan needs to die.
Well, Raquel Peoples just texted me too, so there's you another one. Let's see, we're going to talk. We got some stuff to do.
So, when I was on the school board, and again, my tenure started in 2006, and going to conferences where school board members from across the state, and I guess there's right at 1,000, with all the different systems, may even be a few more now. What you said about the problems we have, they wish they had, because they lacked the population to really help fund their programs, and in the state, I give the state credit. It wants to help educate our students, but with our main funding source being property taxes, makes it difficult.
It's extremely difficult, and to be able to know what one penny is worth in property taxes, is just Miss Nolan. That I remember she could split a penny and so quick, and I was so educated on what that penny meant in our property taxes, and if you look at our property tax rate, that's another point. This gentleman that I had that just came here from Arizona, his property taxes were about 5 times what his are here, and he has twice the square footage of house on a 1 acre lot. And he said you would never in Arizona ever touch what he has now here for what he was paying out there.
Well, and also he gets 4 distinct seasons too. Sometimes they run a little bit close together. So
and we don't have an income tax.
And we don't have a state income tax.
Yeah, so I forgot what that number was, 3.6% or something that he was having to pay in his income tax. So he had the savings there. So it's a no-brainer for him and others like him that move in here from out of town. Now, I give him the speech like everybody else. Whatever political views you've got, you need to open up to the way we think here, hopefully, because, our way of doing things and thinking has got us where we are today. And if you come in with a different way of wanting to run this, and we are starting to turn purple because of our growth. We're starting to get a lot of more Democrat or centrally independent minds.
What a big deal it is to have a balanced budget.
No
year.
deficits.
Yeah, no deficits, and you pay as you go. What are we, 30? Are we 36 trillion in debt as far as a nation? Is that the figure?
Man. Yeah, because that number's going up every day.
Yeah, I mean, well, the interest just is killing us. And, I just, I'm going, I've got 4 grandchildren, and just, that they're going to have to continue to deal with that, long after I'm gone. And I hate leaving them that burden. Of course, not much I can do about it as an individual, but, I would hope as a nation we would see that, that's an economy killer.
It sure is. But in tackling it's even worse. Washington's learned to be their own devil in their own society and their own culture up there, that once you get immersed in that culture up there, you get stuck in it.
Yep.
And those guys are fighting us as Americans in a lot of ways to keep that way of life that they've got up there. And the latest events in the last couple of weeks, being the Minnesota thing, one of them, it's they're pulling the Band-Aid off, and it's showing a whole lot of the infection we've got in government.
This next section, I wouldn't mind talking about some of the fraud and abuse that's being discovered on a national level. I know we don't usually delve off into that swampy.
Well, you'll have to talk on that, so that's fine.
But
sure. Well, it's 9:32. You're listening to the Rick and Wayne Show here, the Tuesday Morning Roundtable. We're going to take our first break and be right back with you in just a minute.
This message brought.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Rick Hall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Rick Hall take the stress out of insurance? Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by Americare Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
In today's changing world, you need a financial planner that you're comfortable with. Rely on the bonds that you've built with trusted friends at Old National Bank on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the borough. And if you just moved here, visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies.
Honey, the cookies are ready.
Like Grandma used to make. Old National Bank. We're better together.
2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
WGNS encourages you to shop local. Patronize our local mom and pop businesses. That's what it's all about. Neighbors helping neighbors. Circle January 31st on your calendar. That's a Saturday, and it's the 24th annual Polar Bear Plunge in the outdoor pool at Sportscom. Saturday, January 31st. The party in the indoor gym starts at 8 o'clock that morning, and the plunge is at 10. That's the 24th annual Polar Bear Plunge, Saturday, January 31st, at Sportscom. There's a live tribute concert, Rewind, this Saturday and Sunday at the Art Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury, with the hits of the Beatles, Van Halen, Music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. This Saturday it's at 7:30 in the evening, along with the 2 o'clock Sunday matinee. That's at the Art Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury this coming weekend. WGNS is happy to list your Good Neighbor events absolutely free. Get them to us at least a month before they occur. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see mostly cloudy skies here this afternoon with a high in the mid-60s. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, although near 45. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center. Currently, it's 58.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's EV Car Club has hundreds of members and growing. EV owners, enthusiasts, and anyone interested in learning more about electric vehicles is encouraged to sign up at mte.com/EV Car Club.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the second segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And this morning, the first show of the new year. Rick and I took a couple of weeks off and did the best of with Brian. And this morning we're just kind of shooting the breeze, aren't we, brother?
That's a good day.
it's a good day. We're talking about county community. We're talking about our local communities. So just trying to have a conversation about the positive and maybe bringing in some things we'd like to see different. With the national deficit being the way it is, and with what's been uncovered in Minnesota, for me, I just got to believe that type of fraud, is possibly or probably nationwide.
Oh, I think so.
And and if you could stop that, what happens to the deficit? How quickly does it shrink, or can it shrink? It certainly better shrink as far as the viability for the United States of America. I mean, we're 250 years old this year, so I'm hopeful anyway.
Well, I know I don't ever see national government shrinking, and what you're talking about is return of funding. It's kind of like we have an ending fund balance that we operate off of, and we may have some money at the end of that goes into the next year's budget cycle that we know year in. But the federal government, they operate month to month, so they don't really set a budget. They try, they say they do, but they can print money and raise money, and like they've done for so long. So it'll be interesting what happens with this. I think there's a whole lot of Trump's administration's really shaking it up, and even if you think of Robert Kennedy and what he's doing now with the medical community, of what's been the standard is now really kind of changing the whole standard of the way we've practiced medicine forever. So I'm interested to see the way that goes. Somebody posted this weekend, and it's the truth, about the way a vet for your dog or your cat operated 30 years ago versus today. And, pet insurance is a real thing now, because the cost of taking your pet to the vet these days is astronomical. Just a regular checkup.
I can say that's why I don't have a pet.
Yeah, it's $200 just to, get your dog in there to have a checkup and anything else that they need to get done. And horses have kind of gotten that way too. I've always had horses, and I can remember, about $55 would take care of our horses and its shots for the year, and that's about $300 now. So it's just a shame that, and I get it. Education costs have gone up for these doctors, and they got loans that they carry over, and and I don't know. I think you're our best and brightest. I think we got to change at some point, and we just make it to where it's we make school almost free, and get away with this money that I won't say wasting, but that we're putting into these higher institutions that these people are carrying the debt out of. And My daughter's one of those, and I'm sure your daughter and son, them going through school, and they were smart, and we get scholarships and everything else, but there's still a cost involved in that.
Oh yeah, I remember in college, I had an instructor that gave me a phrase that I remembered since it was 1972 or 73, and it was in basically a health class, and he said, "There is no such thing as a free lunch." And when he said it, I thought, well, I've had some free lunches, but in the context is at some point in time, you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they may say it's free, but somebody's going to pay for it.
You're right.
And it's like New York City right now with their new mayor saying that, this is going to be free, and this is going to be free, and this is going to be free. And he might be able to make that happen, but somebody in New York City is going to pay for it if it's free. But I did find it a little ironic. I found out, I think I saw a feed yesterday that Subway went up $3 yesterday.
Did it really?
Yeah, after it being said, well, it's going to be free. Well, maybe it'll be free later, but it's going to go up $3 today.
Yeah. And those that pay the highest taxes will go somewhere where they don't have to pay as much.
That's right. I would not be surprised that with that current political situation, to see Wall Street, move to some place like Florida or Texas.
They're saying Dallas, Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth. Well,
yep.
I can see the attraction.
I can too.
So it's just, we were not put on this earth to, not to give back.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And scripturally, I haven't found a scripture, a chapter, a verse that refers to retirement yet. So although I may be officially retired, but I'm not really.
You're working harder now than you did when you worked.
I'm surprised at how busy I am at this late stage of the game.
How many miles are on your car now?
Well, I bought it 2 years ago, right about now, and I have put right at 48,000 miles in 2 years as a retiree. So I'm going, what?
I know. You got to buy you a Tesla, man. You can just plug it up.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, my brother-in-law's got one, and I think it's pretty fascinating. And part of our thing this weekend, it was a good weekend for my wife and I. And just driving, we got off there at the Katie's, Kentucky, or just past Katie's there, where Lane Between the Lakes is, and there's a Huck's gas station. It's kind of they try to make it look like Buc-ee's a little bit, but it's no Buc-ee's. It's just an oversized truck stop with a side over there.
Yeah, Buc-ee's on a whole different scale.
But they got about 10 or so electric pumps. I don't know what you call those, but receptacles for these electric cars.
Stations.
But every one of them were full, and there was like a Ford Lightning truck there. There was all these Teslas there. There was a Revion SUV that was part of it, and then we went to where we were going to meet a friend up there, and then we left, and I went across the street, and I got some food so we could just drive back and eat in the car, and a Wendy's across the street, so we're sitting over there waiting on our food, and I watched the cars come in and out of there and plug up. Obviously they got to sit there for about 20 to 30 minutes, but Tesla Model S came over, went through the Wendy's drive-through, took his food, and then went over and backed into his spot that he had reserved and plugged up. So I'm sure he's just sitting there eating his lunch and plugged his car up and letting it fill up.
So as far as electric vehicles, I don't really know, but my thought is that if you're in a really cold climate, possibly a really hot climate, like Arizona or from one end in Michigan or main for the other. How do electric vehicles work in those extreme conditions? I would think the heat and the cold, the extreme heat and extreme cold, would be problematic.
Well, I think the difference will be is the old lead acid batteries that had, you had distilled water basically in those, and they would bubble or heat and everything else. So it would or did affect those type batteries and things. But these sealed lithium batteries, the way they are today, I don't think it bothers them like we're used to. AGM battery that we have today.
So what is the I won't say they have a propensity to catch fire, but I do know of some instances, that either the big car lithium or these smaller lithium batteries that you use for your weed eater and your leaf blower and stuff like that. How often or how many instances of them catching fire do you have any idea? That might be a chat GBT.
Well, I know I have worked a fire when I still worked for Smyrna, and it was a kid's what's the little two-wheeled thing that you balance yourself on?
Oh, I got my grandchildren.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of it.
Hoverboard.
Believe
it or not, I remember
a child in his living room had a hoverboard, and he had it plugged up. Well, it stayed plugged up for about 4 days till the next time he was ready to play with it. And they happened to have a camera that was in the house that shot across the living room there towards the front door in the condo they lived in, and it caught that thing blow up.
Ooh.
So I don't know if it's the overcharging or deficiency in the batteries. I know I have Milwaukee tools, and my batteries now have gone dead over 3 years, and I'm having to replace them. And I saw screws on the bottom of it, so I started researching why it had screws on the bottom of it. Well, you can buy new lithium batteries, and you can take the bottom off that thing and replace all those batteries in that thing and put it back together and make that battery new again.
And you don't have to buy a new battery. You just got to buy
You just got to buy the individual, and that one big battery has about 15 little batteries in it. Look like just a little bit bigger than a AA battery, and it's just full of them.
So what's the cost difference between buying those replacement batteries and buying a whole new battery?
250 batteries are $199, and you could probably buy all the batteries for it for $40.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a deal.
But you're hoping that your workmanship's well enough that you don't blow it up. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm like,
I didn't think about that.
So you're paying $200 for the knowledge to know that thing is correct. Might put it out in my pasture and run extension cord out there and try it for the first little bit.
You almost might need what was it, the Hurt Locker, where the guy diffused or disarmed IEDs, and you may have to get you a flak jacket or something like that.
Well, it's like vapes. They're so popular with the kids. Well, then they're making these super vapes now with lithium batteries, and they're doing that. They're tying and electronically soldering big battery packs and things, and it shows them blowing up in their pocket and blowing up in their face and everything else because the lithium in them. We're off on a tangent now. We're talking about batteries.
We are, and we talked before the show that we were just going to have a conversation this morning, but that's I've never been one to enjoy flying. It's just, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just heights or whatever. But my second issue with flying is are these batteries that are coming on the plane, either through phones or they have something in their luggage, either in the cabin or in the holding the holding area under the plane. That's concerning to me. That those are issues.
I'm wondering if pressure does that. Cabin pressure for those lithium batteries.
Well,
I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I know what you're talking about, that they put them in overhead bays and they blow up.
Yeah,
so,
or they got it in the pocket and
there's some kind of pressure that's pushing that thing in, or what?
Well, my ears pop all the time.
Something we're going to have to look up.
Is that a chat GPT as well?
Yes, sir.
You know, and I know we hadn't talked, we maybe talked a smidgen about AI, but, and I know there probably going to be abuse with it, but, you know, I what little I've used, and you know that I'm not technologically advanced, but what I have used Chat GPT for has been amazing.
Well, I mean, look, we're going to a new computer system at the office right now, and it's all AI driven.
Wow.
To push through, it's going to do away with unfortunately some people's jobs, not so much in ours. It'll convert our CSRs more to a production type positions, but the task and you of buying a new car and having it changed out now is all going to be done by a computer.
Pretty instantaneous, I guess.
Yeah. App on your phone, and if you're able to put the information in there correctly, that's going to do it all for you.
My problem with a smartphone and a smart computer is that apparently I'm not that smart.
But see, part of that too is, what are the prices going to do? So if your home and auto insurance becomes easier to quote and be able to do, does that drive our rate down? Or is it going to stay? And it's not going to drive the rate down. It's kind of like we said about Washington.
Yeah.
Once you start making the money, you don't want to get rid of the money.
Yeah, good point.
You know?
Good point.
Hey, buddy, we got another break we got to go to here. We got 9:52. It's January the 6th, Tuesday morning here with the Rick and Wayne Show. But we're going to take our second break. Be right back with you in just a minute.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem is not going away.
What? Yeah, I'll be right there.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
If you're not waking up to the Wake Up Crew, here's what you've been missing.
Time for Brian to come into your homes. Run!
Don't miss the Wake Up Crew with John, Brian, and Dalton. Weekday mornings from 6 until Swap and Shop. This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And this being the first show of the new year, Rick and I just thought we would just kind of have a conversation and enjoy our friendship and enjoy getting to share some thoughts with our audience. And Rick, I've just had a great time this morning, just what they say, shooting the breeze, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like Brian said, we've covered a lot of topics, and you know, it's our opinion. What was it, Jerry House with the House Foundation? That's my opinion. It should be yours, or something. And that's one of the shows I miss. That was so much fun to listen to. He was quite the comedian.
I'd bring something up I was made aware of the other day. So, I'm just looking in 2026 for me personally, for my business, and for my political career here. I'm running for re-election, and
God bless you for that.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it. And what challenges and what things we got to face in 2026. So Middle Point has filed a motion with the court to bring Rutherford County in on the lawsuit between Murfreesboro and Middle Point. So I think basically what they're saying is the PFAS that Murfreesboro is suing Middle Point for, Middle Point saying that we share in that because our dump sits right next to their dump. So they can't prove. We're going to have to prove if it's coming from them or us, or a combination of the two of us. With, they had a settlement offer, and Murfreesboro decided to go forward with that, and now they've decided, okay, if we're going forward, we want Rutherford County brought into that. So that's another challenge that's going to be before us over this next 2026.
The tons of aluminum that apparently is smoldering or burning underground, is that ever talked about anymore?
Yeah, it's talked about, and there's, and I don't know that the conversation is about what's in Middle Point right now or what's going in it today. It's more about what tonnage is going there and where it's coming from and when's it going to end. Middle Point wants to make that thing bigger, and they want to, it's been 30 years and they're wanting to run another 30 years. And they're trying to get around what we have blocked now through Murfreesboro and the county, to go around and change state law to allow us as local governments not have the say-so of what goes in our counties,
right,
or our cities.
Yeah, of course, having grown up on the northern end of the county all my life, with the people in that area having tolerated that for all these years, I tried to keep an open mind, but I just had to be a spoken opponent of Middle Point. My personal opinion, hey, we've had it long enough. Time to do something different.
Well, you and I got flack for having a series what we called Talking Trash.
Right.
So we allowed all the players to come in.
Yep.
We had Middle Point came in, and then we had Mayor McFarland, Mayor Carr. We had everybody be able to come in. Donna Barrett came in. So we had a series of all the players come to the table and explain their side and their views on what they were. And that somewhat gave us not so much you, but me, that I was for Middle Point.
Right.
But by playing devil's advocate. I'm not for Middle Point. I live on the Stones River downstream, and I've seen what that river's changed in my lifetime of riding horses on that river. I still ride over there quite frequently, and it's just not the same water it was. And I don't know if that's climate change. I don't know if that's the dump doing that. I don't know if it's the, they say Murfreesboro's dumping their oxygenated water off their sewer plant in there, which they all do that, and I don't know if it is or not, but I just know it's not the same river. And so I'm not for it. I'm for it to go away. I think we've taken everybody else's trash long enough. I do think there was a window of opportunity to where it maybe only been Rutherford County trash, but that's not going to happen now because it's the overwhelming consensus is it just needs to close and it needs to go away by 2030. And I'm 110% behind that, and
thank you,
want to work with our delegation to make sure it happens.
I appreciate you having that position, and I know that's your position because we've talked about it. Previously, and I'm 100% behind you on that. We just need time to change horses on that wagon. So, but we've maybe we can talk about some blessings now that here we are. We're approaching 4 years on the radio, and I've enjoyed it so much, and I appreciate and grateful for our county community, and I'm just looking forward to 2026.
Yeah, Brian brought up in between the commercial break, brought up a great fact, and I give them all the credit in WGNS is that you and I started this, and we had some guests that were running late and things like that, and here you and I are going, God, what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about, and he's exactly right. And here we are sitting here today, just
having a conversation.
We were not done that 4 years ago.
No, and the comfort level is, and I hope that our audience have enjoyed this morning, because we just wanted to basically share our hearts and concerns, about our county community, because we both have served years, and have had servant hearts. And I want to go to my grave, with a servant heart, because Jesus Christ is my Savior, and, Lord God is the creator of all things seen and unseen, and, we're blessed beyond measure.
And we enjoy things. And I want more people, that are out there listening to enjoy some of what we do through our Rotary connections that we have, our Meals on Wheels, things that we volunteer with, and, the other projects that we're involved with. But there's a lot of things if you want to get involved in this town and this community of Rutherford County. There's, the Rotary of Murfreesboro has 2 clubs, the noon and morning, and then of course the one we're involved with, the Smyrna, is meet every Thursday. The Lions Club
do a great job.
The Kiwanis Club. Yeah. There's several things out here that if you want to get involved in our community, and the boards that we have, the county, we're going through a lot of renewing of board people, and we're starting to see interest in people and outsiders that have not really grown up here wanting to get involved in our boards. Sure. And if you watch our steering meeting last night, they're going through a process now, and it's been a good idea that some of us were talking, is that we need to explain what those boards are. I served on the Juvenile Detention Board, which I went into it understanding, because being involved, I knew what juvenile detention and what the board was going to be out. It's an overseer of the budget and the SOPs that the juvenile detention works under over there. There's people that applied for that board who have a background in child advocacy and things like that, thinking that they're going to have time to interact with those kids that happen to be over there, and that's not the case. You don't get to work over there. You don't get to go over there. You want to go do a guided tour, you can do that, but it's not going to be a regular basis. But you're there just to oversee that, and that goes along with all the rest of our boards. What our conversation,
all of our municipalities have boards as well.
We sure do.
Along with, so you can double dip.
Yeah. Well, we got a good friend that want to get involved, and he's on a couple boards now with Smyrna, and you start on one and it moves you to the next. Steve Sullivan's a council member up there. He started out on the historical board, and he went to board and zonings and beer board and then planning, and then he ran for office.
Yeah.
So it's not that you have to do that, but there is an avenue to where you learn how government works and how to get involved.
And that's a key phrase, is learning how government works, whatever level it might be, local, county, state, national, whatever flips your switch, I guess.
Yeah. Well, whatever you think going into it is just, you just came off the commission, a couple of years ago, but me being off for 15 years, the county commission runs a totally different way than it
Sure.
did when I was there 15 years ago. You can't make a move now without some kind of attorney guidance.
I know.
And, that's just kind of the world we're in now and the guidance that they give us. And when I was here, we operated just fine, and we had a part-time attorney, and Mr. Cope. So it's just Judge Scarlett now. That we had Darryl Scarlett. That's an amazing guy, and got to know him really well. But maybe that was one of the changes during that time. Concerning us Burgess, we started having them more involved.
And the growth just mushroomed.
Sure did. Yeah. Well, thank you for our 4 years here almost together, and thanks for today's show.
Well, I've had a great time, and we've been friends a long time before the show ever developed. And when they asked us to do it, I just I thought, well, I don't know that there'd be anybody that I would like to get to chat with or discuss issues with more than you. And I thank you for our time together on this show. And I just we twist Brian's arm, maybe he'll stay a while longer.
Two more shows.
There you go.
Everybody, hope you enjoyed the show. We got Sheila Bratton coming on next week. I'm going to try to, at the end of every show, let everybody know who's coming in next week. I think it'll help things. But.
And she's going to talk specifically about the new Rutherford County Schools Foundation, which I'm excited to get to talk about.
That you happen to chair that.
Okay.
that committee.
Well, it's it really is an opportunity to affect our educators, get out of their pockets, and provide some enhanced learning opportunities for our children.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly how I was going to say it. But everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.